We will now pass over to Andy, Aaron, George and Ray.
Thank you, Amy. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to come and present to you today. I'm pleased to say I'm joined by my colleagues, Aaron at Chirpy Heat, George and Ray at Dodds Group. Yeah, so I'm going to go through our round 7 bid with you. Next slide, please. Before I do that, just a quick kind of introduction. My name is Andy Duke. I am the interim head of assets and development at Solihull Community Housing. We are an ALMO. We manage 10,000 properties on behalf of the Solihull Community House, Solihull Council, apologies. Of those 10,000 properties, we have 37 high-rise buildings, which all fall under the definition of high-risk buildings. So we've basically, our round 7 bid was comprising of 3 energy centres serving 8 residential tower blocks, approximately 570 units. Our bid was split into 3 in round 7. Next slide, please. So similar themes to colleagues that have presented previously. Historic legacy systems as were installed around about 2012 by British Gas. So we're starting to see failings in the system and have done for some time. We've seen a growing trend in reactive maintenance, which essentially has asked questions upon the system's capabilities. However, the biggest reason for doing this work was what our customers were saying to us. They're saying that the systems were unstable. They were expensive. They were switching to electricity, electric heaters rather than using the biomass system. So, and also we did have lots of outages that they've only increased. So this was about 5 or 6 years ago. So we started seeing these trends, and this is what's led us to kind of investigate what exactly is going on. And with our principal contractor Dodds, this is what we've been doing. The colleagues have said it previously. The BMS is, the Lisa's analogy of on or off is extremely accurate. That's basically how they were initially operating. They were either full bore or off. So clearly we wanted to have more control over our systems, and also we suffered with the carbon steel corrosion that were first installed, sweating of the pipework. So this was again all totting up in terms of capital outlay. So when we were kind of looking at the extent of what this potentially could cost us, we had to look at options of funding, and thankfully then obviously HNES were there to assist. So I think I'm going to hand over to Aaron now on the next slide.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Andy. Apologies, I've had to pop my camera off as my signal's struggling a little bit here. But yeah, as a quick introduction, I'm Aaron Kirkbright. I am the Heat Network Strategy Lead at Chirpy Heat, and I essentially lead all of our HNES related activities. So as Andy kicked us off with, this 2 years before the HNES Round 7 application, and that started to understand the failings of the heat network. Then these investigations included condition surveys, water quality assessments, network performance assessments, and then ultimately an optimization study to ensure that all decisions on the network were evidence-based. And then as uncovered quite a few issues with the system, such as significant debris and poorly designed and installed pipework on the system. Next slide, please. So following this, we then looked to develop a clear plan, which used the findings of these investigations to inform the measures that needed to be undertaken. So this focused on improving across the network, essentially increasing lower the customer costs, improve the maintainability of the network to ensure that any future issues could be easily addressed or avoided with minimal downtime, minimise the replacement costs as well. So these aspects combined looks to kind of maximise the impact of the funding that we were applying to HNES to use. Sorry, next slide, please.
Have we lost you, Aaron?
Oh, sorry. Where did I cut out?
I think if you just start from this slide again, that'd be great.
Apologies, my internet seems to be struggling today. So in terms of the engineering scope, the improvement plans looked at the networks holistically, ensuring that measures weren't taken in isolation and that all aspects of the heat networks would operate efficiently, sort of in unison. So within dwellings, this looked at undertaking measures to increase efficiency, provide additional control, extend the system lifespan, and provide even heat distribution as well. Then for the distribution network, measures looked to replace leaking and degraded pipework, increase maintainability, reduce heat loss, and then again extend system lifespan, which was a key one for us. And then finally, for the energy centre, the works look to increase control over the system, maximise the plant efficiency, and increase the water quality as well, which again obviously helps with the lifespan. So by bringing all of these elements together, the result was a high-performing, efficient, and reliable heat network. Next slide, please. So one of the primary reasons for the success of this project was the collaboration by all parties involved. So Solihull Community Housing is the next network owner and operator, and they were the project sponsor and responsible for bringing in the other parties to the project as well. Then Chirpy Heat were brought in as a specialist in undertaking some of the early investigations and optimization study, and then pulling together the HNES application as well. Zenergy came in pre-application to verify the design, and then finally Dodds Group were responsible for the overall project delivery, including the installation, the commissioning, and yeah, ultimately delivery of the efficiency improvement measures. Next slide, please. So in terms of the process, that would usually begin with Chirpy submitting free of charge HNES revenue application for the client, and then assuming that application is successful, we then go on to deliver an optimization study. However, on this project, due to time constraints, we went straight in to the optimization study without HNES funding, so it was self-funded, and that meant we could go directly for a HNES capital application, which Chirpy Heat took a lead on in collaboration with Dodds Group. Once the application was confirmed in terms of receiving the funding, Dodds Group were then able to crack on with delivering the works themselves, and then passed back to us for some ongoing HNES monitoring and reporting. So as you can see from the timeline on the bottom, it was about a year and a half from sort of starting that optimization study through to the works actually being delivered, which was fairly efficient in terms of timing. So I'll now pass over to George, who will go through the works delivery and some of their impacts as well.
Good stuff. Thank you, Aaron. Apologies if there's any background noise. I'm in quite a busy hotel lobby. As Aaron's alluded to, and again, some of our colleagues who presented previously, key for us was the replacement of the BMS in the 3 energy centres to give us full controllability of the systems, but both on-site and remotely. You can see on the pictures there that the state of the distribution pipework, closed circuit distribution pipework, was in a very bad state of affairs. which led to a considerable number of outages in all of the schemes in question, leading to very negative attitude toward the heat network from the residents due to the interruption to service of both heating and hot water over quite a prolonged period. Nice shot of the completed works thereafter with the new BMS, and not that you can really see it on this slide, but significant improvement in efficiency and reduction in return temperatures. Next slide, please. So as Aaron mentioned, we engaged Zenergy for a full design assessment of the existing installation to verify pipework sizing, flow rates, etc., to ensure efficiency and also to safeguard all of the distribution circuits for potential future low temperature use through alternate fuel sources. Incidentally, these are predominantly biomass fired energy centres. So I think, as Andy mentioned, there was quite a high tariff at the outset for the residents for the use of the heat service, which thankfully post measure installation has reduced significantly, along with the efficiency gains that we've proven to reduce the operating costs for Solihull. Next slide, please. So really, the way we looked at it, as Aaron mentioned, probably predates the HNES application by a couple of years. It was quite an intensive investigation of all of the 23 biomass-fired heat networks within the Solihull borough, looking at how we could improve the efficiency, how we could reduce the outages within all of those blocks. Carbon steel being a major issue for us, which hadn't been treated correctly at the outset, wasn't lagged correctly with no vapor membrane, so it was basically rotting from the inside out and the outside in, which is perhaps the worst situation you could find. Basically, through the installation process, Solihull now have systems with a 25-year manufacturer warranty on the installed pipework, ongoing water quality regime as per BISRA requirements. So we're maintaining the performance, the efficiency of the systems on a constant basis. We've got remote connectivity, as I mentioned, through to the BMS. So if there is any issue or any alarm scenario, that's signaled to us via email from the respective energy centres. Although that said, we've had no unplanned outages since completion of the measures. And I think, Ray, Bangor was completed around about this time last year, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, George. June last year.
Yeah. So next slide, please. Oh, sorry, actually, just to mention before. Oh, that was my great reveal slide. Sorry. Just to mention the resident engagement piece with the SCH comms team. We had a couple of dedicated resident liaison officers on this as well. We worked weekends and out of hours throughout the process. Equally, bearing in mind you're talking about 18-metre plus high-rise buildings and replacement of all riser and lateral pipework throughout secondary pipework throughout those blocks. There was minimal interruption to service for the residents. We phased the works, and all blocks were, or all residents remain in situ, and we had phased working throughout the day during normal working hours to reduce the impact on a break of service to those residents whilst we replace that pipework. So next slide, please. So it's still relatively early days in terms of the ongoing assessment of efficiency improvements. As I'm sure the other colleagues that have presented today can attest, it's basically a process of tweaking the BMS to understand what setback temperatures we can achieve where full service is still maintained, but at a reduced cost of delivery. It's basically targeting supply to demand as best we can on a heat interface network. But we're already seeing significant efficiency improvements and further reductions to resident energy tariffs. Next slide, please. So really, yeah, just to reiterate, it was a very sizable project. So 8 high-rise blocks delivered over a 10-month period with some quite challenging funding expenditure constraints. At the outset, we were awarded in January 25, and at least 4 of those blocks had to be completed before the end of that financial year, so by the end of March. So we had to mobilise very quickly and progress through the programme with speed. But that said, we had some fantastic results and great resident accolades from the work that was completed. That's kind of it for me, I think. But equally, as everybody said, oh no, there is some more. Sorry. Right. Yeah. So obviously, we're still engaged with Chirpy for the ongoing monitoring and reporting back into HNES. We are in the first year of a 10-year partnership for the day-to-day repairs and maintenance with Solihull Community Housing. So we continue to operate and maintain the blocks in question, and are looking to submitting in the next round for the remaining 5 blocks on the heat networks. So there we go. Contact
Brilliant.
details. Yep.
Thank you all. And yes, we'll be sharing the slides as well afterwards. So yes, do get in touch with the team if you have any questions.